Hello everyone. In this chapter we're going to be discussing activity-based costing. Activity-based costing, or ABC if you will, is by definition an accounting method that identifies and assigns cost to overhead by recognizing the relationship between costs, overhead activities, and manufactured products. What does that mean in layman's terms? It means that not all products that we have require the same amount of inputs when it comes to indirect costs. Some of them depreciate our machines more. Some of them require more work from our indirect laborers. Some of them take up more space in our facility. Some of them require our purchasing managers to go and buy more parts than others. So there is a relationship between how much indirect cost a particular product, segment, or job is costing your business based upon how much of those inputs that it uses. And activity-based costing is a method of assigning indirect costs not on one flat allocation rate, but on multiple allocation rates based upon the different things that go on in your production model that count as indirect costs. So basically everything besides direct labor and direct materials that's going to end up being inventoriable is going to go into overhead. But pooling everything into one overhead pool can lead to inefficient methods of allocation. What if we use a ton of different pools for all of the primary aspects of production that we have that count as indirect costs? What could those be? Product design. Doing research and development is an incredibly expensive thing to do. If you're trying to figure out, should we launch the cost of this particular product, like should we spend the money to put this product into market? Well, assigning it the vast majority of your R&D costs for the period makes sense. Instead of putting those into a pool with something else and assigning it out based on some other metric, why don't we just put all of the product design costs into one pool and then spread it out by how many hours our people in R&D spend designing that product? Machine setup. Making sure that your machine is configured in the proper way so you're not making parts that are incorrect, that are, going to malfunction because they're not cut properly. When you make batches of goods, before each batch you typically have to go and make sure that everything is aligned. You have to make sure that everything's properly lubricated. You have to make sure that all your parts are working. It's all part of the machine setup process. Well, some products that we make can be made in humongous batches where we don't have to do a lot of setups because they don't have a lot of intricate little parts on there where things could go wrong. But some products we make could have a ton of different parts in there where we'd have to frequently do setups for very, very small batches over and over again. And that same process is true for product inspection. We have people that inspect our product to make sure it's of quality. Personal note, this is what my grandmother did at Oneida Limited for her entire life. She basically looked at silverware and flatware to make sure there was no cracks, chinks, everything was, set up the way that it was supposed to be. Well, some intricate products have a lot of points that you have to inspect, but a thing like a plate, well, that's relatively simple. So if we have a bunch of different products that we're making that are from various different segments, some of them are going to require more inspection time than others. And again, instead of throwing all of those costs into one pool and assigning it out by direct labor hours or whatever, why don't we have a pool just for the cost that we incur for product inspection and assign it out by how many hours it takes that inspector to look at that product? Product distribution, shipping costs. The heavier something is, the more you have to pay for it. Why don't we use that theory and make a pool just for our distribution costs? And administrative oversight could be some products that are new to the market. Your administrators want to make sure that they put out their best foot forward. They have a good initial impression. They're going to be overseeing the production of those products way more than existing products that have happened. Well, that would mean that your administrators are spending more of their salaried hours overseeing development of this new product. We should probably assign it more costs for administrative oversight. So in the ABC system, you go through, you find the activities that are going to contribute the most towards pooling up these indirect costs, and you make a pool for each and every one of them. And then within each one of those pools, how do you get the cost out of the pool into the various products, jobs, or segments of your business? You find a driver. But you find a driver instead of one universal one for each activity pool that you have.